Hello and welcome to StroongeCast episode 83.
What does it mean to you?
This is a good question. We will find out soon what it means to you or what it means to me. But first of all, what does your week mean to you?
What does this week mean?
Come a little closer. Come a little closer.
Oh no. I don't know why. If I'm any closer, I'm going to be touching it.
Okay.
You want to do some adjusting?
It seems all right. It's all right. We'll survive.
Okay.
I can hear you now.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, it's been a busy week. The kids have gone back to school.
It's got quiet again.
So, yeah.
I mean them, not you. For clarification.
Yeah. It's always quieter. Even when they're here and they're not doing very much.
You just feel the vibe. Yeah.
And I guess because during the 2 weeks, Jake's girlfriend was here most days.
Yes.
So...
She's not quiet.
No, she's got quite a laugh on her.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's really nice. We like having her here, don't we?
She's good people.
Yeah. And she makes him really happy. So that is good. But yeah.
She started to feel a bit like part of the furniture.
Yeah. That's it. I think at first, like the first day that she came, I scrubbed the entire house. I was like, everything has to be clean and perfect and neat and tidy and stuff. And now it's just like, oh yeah, just come, it's fine, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll just carry on with our day.
And we did.
Well, when she's here most days, you know, you kind of have to. But yeah, otherwise I don't think anything exciting's happened.
No.
What about you?
I worked with a singer, which was good. We started on a new track of hers, and that's been fun. Yeah. Actually, two singers. I worked with a singer that I've worked with before, and then a brand new one that was recommended to me, or I was recommended to by somebody else. And it was kind of like thrown in the deep end, do this thing with this person. But she was happy, so it worked out. And I'm recording, I've got an event tonight, which by the time the podcast comes out will be over. But I'm giving a workshop this evening on a piece of software for the Mac, which is like an OCR thing. So that allows you to scan the screen and read things that the screen reader cannot see by default. So that'll be fun.
Nice.
And as the podcast comes out on the 17th, it's the eve of our wedding anniversary.
Yes. This Saturday.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we're going to be talking about.
A bit. In a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
After all
us.
The before bits.
After all the before bits, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting that. I like that. Oh dear.
Let's start with the first before bit.
Go on then.
Okay. So the quiz question. I don't think anybody has
I didn't see me.
put an answer. But the question was, what is the only rock that floats in water?
Oh yeah.
Do you know? Any ideas?
No.
Pumice.
Oh my gosh, it was in my head, but I didn't believe myself, so I didn't say it.
Oh no. See? You should always try. And this week's question then shall be, what is the name of the fear of trees?
Oh, that didn't come up in our phobia list.
No, I don't think it did. Yeah, it's an irrational fear of trees.
Is it called tree not to be scared of treesophobia?
No, it's not.
Boring.
Yeah.
And no one answered my how many buys did she say at the end of the April Fool episode? It was 57.
Yeah, it's a lot of buys.
57 buys.
Although not all of the buys.
No, there was a lot missing.
But still,
Even
a lot of me to listen to.
It's funny though.
Oh dear.
So what's in our virtual mailbag this week? What we got?
So we've got a few from Barry.
Thanks,
Thank
Barry.
you very much.
You're
Barry.
a star, man.
Yeah, amazing.
Also, a super thanks from Barry as well. So thanks for sending in a bit of coinage to the StroongeCast donation
our first,
pot.
Contribution.
Yeah, first ever.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So if we go back to a previous episode that he commented on, which was episode, what did you say it was?
79.
79. And he says, a lot of people who might meet me in passing would find it hard to believe I have anxiety myself. Totally get the phone call thing. There's been so many times, in fact, it's pretty much the norm that I won't immediately answer the telephone, if at all. Not because I feel like something horrendous is going to happen, but it's actually the pressure of the phone call that gets to me. I feel like I have to either perform or be at my best when the head is swimming and the thoughts and emotions.
I so relate to this.
It is that kind of, like, I like to have time to process what I'm going to say in response.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally get that. And then he also said, I know you had your Andre with you, but even still, I still want to thank you once more. That's directed to me.
To you, yeah.
For helping set up my M32 up in 2019. You guys called me. I think we did it over the phone and TeamViewer. I don't really remember. I know that I've helped and done a few things over the years, but I don't specifically remember this one. But then we know I have a really shockingly bad memory.
It was before COVID, and nothing happened before COVID. Like, the world wasn't even in existence until then. You know,
exactly.
Did it even happen at all?
Yeah, no. What was life before COVID? My gosh.
Who knows?
But yeah, you're most welcome. I'm glad that we helped.
It's great because he said he's just starting to get back into music now after a long hiatus. So
nice.
It's really nice that he's able to.
That's really cool.
Use that.
So then on last week's episode, he also commented saying, for at least the first 20 years after I went blind, I would happily indulge the silence-filling awkward question of taxi drivers about, so have you always been blind? Eventually, I started to realize that as much as I'm okay with being blind, I'm not okay with reliving this over and over again, just to indulge somebody, especially when a lot of times they won't engage intelligently with the conversation. When I have the energy, I will shoot back, as is my way, with a little bit of humor.
Yeah.
Normally, I expect dinner and a movie before we get personal like that.
Nice. You know what? I agree with that. I agree with that.
And then he also says, absolutely agree with this comment from Mariah. Apologies if I spelled
That was
her
James,
name.
by the way.
That is James. No, you're right. Barry, here we go. Sorry about that. It's because both of the initials were in the same color, whereas sometimes they have like if you got like a picture or something yourself, if you've set it up, because they were in the same color. I just thought they were the same
person.
No, he said, well done on the Easter egg collection. I would take Rolo over a toffee apple any day, though.
You can have it, mate.
I agree. I like apples and I like toffee, but I don't like toffee apples.
No, you too. You just fine. You do it.
So going back to that one, James, his comment, absolutely agree with this comment from Mariah. Apologies if I spelt her name wrongly, but this fits in with a situation I was in the other week. I am new to my local area and needed to collect a package from my post office. My support worker was just off on a jolly ranting argument with the man behind the counter. And when I spoke up to try and get things moving, she said, "Don't be rude, James." I
was very upset about this when I read this.
Yeah, I dropped no F-bombs, hadn't said anything unsavory, and was furious with her. Once we left the post office, I turned to her and without hesitation I said, "Do not, under any circumstances, do that again. I am not one of your children." I explained to her that speaking for me and expecting me to just stand there listening, neither accurately or positively, exemplifies someone in my situation. In case anyone's curious, all I said to trigger her attitude in the post office was, "No, please don't speak over me."
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that a lot. And you've never done that. There's lots of reasons why I love this woman. And we'll get to them in a minute because it kind of segues nicely. But there's a massive list, and I won't get all sappy, but there's a lot of reasons.
You can get a little sappy.
Okay.
Last comment we have is from John. Oh, no, that was the comment we weren't sure about.
Oh, okay.
The dream comment, remember?
Oh, random dream that just appeared in the comments list.
Yeah, somebody called John put a comment about the dream. And we weren't really sure
why,
if that was meant to be.
Unless it was an AI comment.
Yeah. John, if you are a listener,
what do you
did post your dream, which is very interesting. Maybe you
put it in the wrong comment, wrong podcast, because we did one called Weird Dreams or something years ago.
Or yeah, maybe just let us know and then we can share it
Yes.
correctly. But yeah, so there you go.
Thank you, as always, for your comments. It's
Thank
nice.
you.
I feel like we're starting to like make fans or something. I don't know what you call it, but it's really cool.
Just listeners.
I love it when
Stroonges.
yeah.
Fellow
Stroonges, become
Stroonges.
one.
Go on then, you can start.
So what does it mean to you? Which is really, what does it mean to me, I guess. So the it in this case is, well, love, relationships, partners, anything really. It's the umbrella, isn't it? It's an umbrella term.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about this and talking to you about this yesterday. And I bring up the time when I turned to you and I said, what time is it coming? And you just said like 12 or something. And it was one of those married conversations that we have. And because I didn't have to explain myself, and it always makes me laugh, because you know exactly what I'm talking about. So to me, many things, but love means the immediate understanding of a few words, a look, a feeling. If one of us is down, the other knows, all of that sort of thing. And on the eve of our how many years together, and I do love this. I do know the answer, by the way. I'm one of the men that actually does know his anniversaries. But
You're really, really good with dates and times like that and stuff.
how long have you been married as of tomorrow? And 17. I mean tomorrow podcast, not tomorrow us.
Yeah, 17 years.
It's a long time.
It's a really long time.
And I think we have a really good understanding. And if people, people that listen that are new to us say that we have a good chemistry, which we do. And I love that. And like, well, how do you put this without being a bit dirty? Just we're not bored of each other. But it's true.
Oh dear. No, I think we still enjoy each other's company. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
I think there's always that worry, isn't there, externally when people get together really young.
Yes.
And maybe.
And you were, and I say that because I was a bit young, but you were still younger than me.
I was very young, yes. I was 21. And I hadn't really had any other relationships or experiences with relationships, anything like that. And a lot of people would say, well, that's not a great
metric.
Way to go. Yeah. You need to experience things in order to know what's right, what's wrong, what, how to be.
Yes.
Because, I guess in those early relationships that you have, you learn how they work. I know it, like every relationship is different and every couple is different, every person is different, all of that, but there are fundamentals that are the same.
Yes.
And I guess if you've never had a relationship really, or sort of
or seen a good role model for one as well, and that's important, because I think we could mention Jake in this without embarrassing him and just say that he has treated his girlfriend extremely well.
Yeah.
And we never had cause to pull him up and say, you can't say that.
No.
Right? And he's seen us all his life, we do hug and kiss in front of him, not like obnoxiously, but we're not scared to do that. Some parents would be like, oh goodness, no.
No, I think it's but
It's
even
healthy.
that aside, just the way that we communicate.
Yes.
Like we have obviously argued in front of them because
Rarely though. It's not our thing.
no, it's not our thing. But I remember reading something when the kids were little that said you can't hide from your children the fact that you argue. Obviously, having big blazing rows,
That's different.
is one thing. Like they don't need to be part of that, but that actually it's healthy for them to see their parents have arguments or disagreements. I guess.
Yeah.
Not screaming and shouting, but having a disagreement, working through it, and it being okay afterwards. Because otherwise, they pick up on the tension. They hear you arguing in a different room, or at night or whatever, and they don't know that it's been resolved and that it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So actually them seeing the fact that, yes, it's okay to be annoyed and have an argument, have a disagreement. It doesn't mean that you then don't love that person or that, things are really bad. You work through it and it's fine.
Yeah, good way of putting that.
Yeah, we never had big arguments in front of them, but they did maybe see that occasionally we were annoyed with each other, as you're going to be.
But annoyance is good because you can work through that.
Yeah.
It's healthy, oddly.
Yeah. But I think...
I don't like it, but it's healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. But also, like, just in general, the way that we communicate, we are very respectful. We don't swear at each other.
No.
Even in times of arguments. Not that there's been many for a very long time, but when there has been, we don't swear at each other.
Why do you think that is? And I don't mean swearing, I mean arguing. Do you think it's age thing? Do you think it's that we're better communicators because communication is key? I think that's episode 46.
I love how you drop in the little...
Well, you know, someone's got to.
Reminders of previous episodes, and that you remember the numbers.
I could be wrong about that, but it's in around there somewhere. That was Ed's episode.
I think there's different things there. I think partly it's because we're at different stages in our life now. I think a lot of the reason for arguments before was that we had young children, and you don't want to say like, oh, blame the kids. It's not that, but everything is so much harder. Raising a family when they're little is hard work. Like, it's supposed to be. And you're tired, and some days feel never ending. And of course it's rewarding and it's amazing, and you've got this gorgeous family, but it's so hard at the same time. And particularly in a household where sometimes the workload of looking after the children is a bit more tipped to one person than the other.
It's mummy centric.
Yeah, that can be really hard. So I think there would be times where we would argue over, you know, me feeling like there was just so much on my plate.
Yes.
And you feeling defensive about that, quite rightly, because you would be saying, well, what can I do? You know, that's really hard. Nothing could really change in what we were doing.
At the time.
It was frustration on both sides, I think. And, you know, as time's gone on, obviously we still have the kids. we still look after them. But, you know, as they've got older, they've got easier for you to manage and help with and look after and stuff.
And now they barely need looking after at all.
I know.
And
it's
by
kind
which
of like
I
just
don't
guiding
mean,
in the right
it's
way,
guidance
isn't it?
now. You know what it's like? It's like, you know, in the supermarket and you've got a very smooth floor and a long aisle and a trolley that doesn't have wonky wheels.
Yeah.
You're just one fingering it down. It's like that. You're just steering slightly left and right, barely cruising.
Keeping it
It's
straight.
not like you have to micromanage every wheel in every direction of every... It's not like that.
No.
Especially ours, they're just quite responsible people, which is amazing because I know that we are extremely lucky where that's concerned.
Yeah.
So they come in, they do their thing, they come down, they eat, they go and do their thing again. But it's not that teenage don't want to be with parents, because if we said, right, let's have a house meeting and let's play some music or watch some... They would do it if they weren't busy. We do have those impromptu evenings, usually after a takeaway, when we sit and watch family things.
Jake will come and sit and chat to me for a bit.
Yeah.
Like if he's been out all day, or, you know, he got home late yesterday, so barely seen him. And in the evening, he came, sat on the sofa and had a little chat with me, told me a few things about his day.
Yes. And if it's ski related, him and I will chat.
Yeah.
I love those times. They're great.
So, yeah, so the kid factor, raising a young family, that's one reason why we don't argue now, because we don't have those same pressures. Also, yeah, we have grown up as people and we have learnt the best ways to communicate. I've learnt to,
I want to bring up the second cruise, because it was pretty much flawless.
Comparison.
It was so nice because I was dreading the fact that we might argue.
But don't you think, though, it's not just... we are in a very... I will try and get my words out. Do you know what? There are so many thoughts running through my head. It's really hard. My mouth can't keep up with it. Even if it was just the two of us and not the kids,
Yeah.
it would have been a very different time.
It would have been, yeah.
Because if you think about the first cruise to the second cruise, it's so much
Was that like
has
6 years or
happened.
something? I can't remember. 19? No, 8.
It was our
It
10th
was 19. Yeah, so
wedding
2019.
anniversary. So yeah, it was 6 years.
6 years. A lot happens in 6 years.
Yeah, but I think we had a massive shift in our relationship just because obviously we've been through COVID times and all of that, but also the way that we've opened up.
Yeah.
More me, because I'm the one that has like the issues when we talk about anxiety and stuff like that. But because I have been more open with you and you've been able to understand certain
Aspects.
Yeah, and certain behaviors that maybe I have sometimes, it's meant that we've been able to share everything, share it a bit more, I guess. And so those behaviors that caused issues on the first cruise are no longer a thing.
They're not.
Because
Yeah.
when it happens, you understand why it's happening and how to help me, rather than being cross and frustrated.
We had that actually on the second cruise because you asked me in the restaurant why I was so quiet once.
Yeah, because it works both ways.
Really
It's not just
interesting
me.
as well.
But yeah, there are times when I can see now that you feel overwhelmed and that situations are not great for you. Whereas before you wouldn't have said, you just go quiet and within yourself, which just I then interpreted as
Annoyed
you're
with
just
you.
annoyed, you're mad, like
Yeah.
you don't want to be here, all of that. Whereas now I understand it's because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of noise, there's a lot of things. It's very overwhelming, it's overstimulating. All those things. I understand how you're feeling, the overstimulation, there's just a lot of noise, a lot going on in those places. And, we both understand those things a lot better.
And it comes back to Ed's episode about communication because he brought up such a good point that we'd never, ever considered is that it's not just the onus on you to be the guide or something. It's for me to interpret the world and help you to help me.
Yeah.
Which I never, ever worked out.
Yeah.
And it's obvious.
No, that was
when you said
actually
it.
a really, really useful conversation for both of us. I
was
think
really
we both took a lot from that.
Yeah, definitely. Like it helped me to understand more how to help you to help me. That's really convoluted, but it's
but
true.
also just to make you see that you just need, we both do, but in this context, you just need to say to me, it's too much.
Yes.
And that's it. As soon as I know, okay, that's never a problem. It was just because I didn't know that was the problem. I didn't know that, and actually that thing of, the last couple of days, I just took the kids aboard.
You did?
On the
Yeah.
shore and took them for a walk because it was too much. You had enough. It was so ridiculously hot, having to constantly be holding on to one of us.
That's sweaty hands, by the way.
It was
it's
more
too
than
much.
that. It was our whole body. I mean, just
Yeah.
the heat and share, it was so crazy hot.
And with them being the
Walking
age they are,
around-
you did not have to hold their hands.
I don't
at
have to hold
all.
the hands or anything.
So
but
there's no
and
touching.
the walking around and like you say, it's unfamiliar ground. You don't know where you're walking, what you're walking into, like all of these things. And actually you just needed some time on your own.
This is it. And it goes back to the same conversation again.
Exactly. And now we know that.
Yeah.
And we've come to that point. And I think that is one of the great things about marriage, or any long-term relationship. But obviously we're talking about marriage because that's our reality. But having been together for so long, one of the great things is having learned this stuff about each other.
And I'm so glad we have. It's really good.
But it feels kind of almost better because it's taken a while to get to that.
Yes.
And that's not to say that everything wasn't great before. We've always had an amazing relationship.
Yeah.
But things are always going to change and evolve because you do as people anyway. But the fact that you've sort of gone through those experiences to then say, this is how
and
I
why.
need it to be, you need it to be, it needs to be.
Yeah.
it feels like we're accomplished.
We've learnt something.
Yeah.
A lot of somethings. So I know you've kind of explained it a bit now, but you asked me at the beginning, what does it mean to me? What does it mean to you? You might be rehashing, but like, if you were to break it down, what does it mean?
Love.
Yeah. Or the it, because the whole relationship is just a one big it, right? We decided it's love, it's respect, it's whatever you want it to be.
I think that's what it is. I think for me, it's comfort. It's that like absolute support and comfort. I know that at absolutely any moment in the day or night, I can come to you, call you.
Apart from when you can't.
Like earlier when I was trying to call you and it just was failing every
3
time.
times.
But that wasn't your fault. That's
what I want you to think.
Cheeky. It's just, and I think we can be a little bit sappy because we're not normally sappy people.
No.
Not in front of other people anyway. But it is that idea that you are my safe space in all aspects of our lives. And I just think to have somebody that makes you feel so taken care of emotionally, and I'm not talking about the physical stuff because, it's great. I do the cooking, I do the cleaning, I look after you and all of that. But for me, it's the emotional taking care of. And that's what you do.
I can live with that.
Well, I hope so.
It's fun,
Yeah. But it's that. And yeah, like you said, it is the little things. Just the tiny things that you just know about each other.
What, like walking into the room when the printer's broken and it starts working?
Yeah, you always do that. I always
It's so stupid.
Load this up because it's not working for me, and it just works for you.
We have a lot of those.
Yeah.
And for me, I always think of every time you ask me if I want anything from the shop.
Yeah.
I've already got it.
Yeah.
Then why the hell do you ask me?
Even when you say obscure things, I'm like, oh yeah, I ordered that.
I tried to trick her
that.
sometimes with like random things.
I've even started doing it with the kids now.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I'll say to them, do you want anything on the shopping? The weirdest one, Alice said to me 2 days ago, she wanted to cook a meal. She wanted to make butter chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay. She said, well, I'm not sure if we have the ingredients. Funnily enough, last week, I had thought this week, I'm going to make butter chicken for you all. Now, this is not a dish I have ever made.
What the hell is going on in your mind?
Are
you like a super AI?
Now, it wasn't quite the same in that I bought like one of these spice kits that you can do it. Alice wanted to do it from scratch. So it's not quite the same.
But the idea is there.
But the idea was there. They're just completely randomly. I just bought a kit to make this meal. And yeah, Alice decided that was what. And she hasn't seen it in the cupboard. She didn't know it was there. Because I was like, oh, you could use this kit if you want to. She was like, but then I don't feel like I've made it myself. And I was like, no, that's fine. I'll get all the ingredients and I have, and she's going to make it tonight. But yeah, that's a weird one because that is not a dish that we have ever done or has ever come into our thought process or that we've spoken about.
That's
really,
weird,
really,
but
really strange. So yeah,
we're
all just in sync.
When you get married, they sort of say that one of you is the provider or the breadwinner, right?
Mm-hmm.
But being the provider or breadwinner is not just a term that means monetarily. It is, like you said a minute ago, emotionally. And I think people often forget that because being there to provide support, to provide a hug, just a hand, just acknowledgement, even reassurance, is being a provider.
Yeah.
If you don't do those things, then you're not a provider. You might be bringing in money, but money isn't the be all and end all. But I think when you hear those terms, being a provider, the breadwinner, you think money, or your brain probably goes to that. But there's so much more to it, isn't there?
Yeah.
Than just that.
No, absolutely. And, I would argue that the emotional side is more important. I mean, obviously, we all need to live and we all need the money for that.
If all you have is money, and you all live under the same roof, then where's the love? So what? You could buy 3 Rolls Royces tomorrow, but who are you going to enjoy them with?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of that?
Yeah. I don't want a Rolls Royce, by the way.
Bentley then. Okay. Maybe a Jag.
Maybe.
Jags are nice. See, she's quite high maintenance, this one, so I'll have to go provide and do the things.
As if I am high maintenance. My gosh.
No, not at all.
Oh, dear.
Funny.
I think going back to what you were saying before, though, about the respect as well.
That's a very special thing.
Yeah. I think we have always made a big point to have ultimate respect for each other.
Yeah. You must. You really must.
Yeah. That's why, you know, the swearing at each other or calling each other names, derogatory things.
Oh my gosh.
It isn't a thing in our relationship ever.
We do not roll this way.
No, we really, really don't. For many reasons, but yeah, that's not something that we would. I wouldn't even want to.
No.
It's not like, oh, you know, you got things going on in your head, but you know you can't say them.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's just not a thing.
No, it's really, really
It's
not.
unwise too, because then your kids hear it and they think that's okay, and they become Andrew Tate.
That's it. That's where my brain was thinking. It was, you know, we want our children to grow up knowing what is a good relationship, so that that's what they strive for and that's what they go and find.
Yes.
And I think that is the thing. If we were behaving badly towards each other, what are we showing them?
Mm-hmm. You normalize it.
Yeah. And I don't ever want them to think that that's okay either way, for them to behave like that or for someone to behave like that towards them.
Correct.
So yeah, it's important for us, but them as well.
I think someone listening to this, and I don't have an answer, by the way, so I'm kind of putting us both on the spot, and I have to think about it, is what's the most important thing you've learned from marriage? And my immediate thought is, I don't know. But because I've just said that to you, while I consider an answer, I'm basically waffling to fill time.
You're going to put me on the spot, so I have to answer first so you can...
No. I'm also thinking about it. I'm letting you think while I think. Right? But in truth, because it just popped into my head, and if someone were to ask me that off the street, what would it be? And I'm wondering what it would be. But I think it boils down to, again, is respect and understanding. Because you can respect someone, but it doesn't mean you understand them. But in marriage, you've got to do lots of things and juggle lots of things. And I think respect and understanding are 2 of those things, right? Yeah. So I could understand where you're coming from, but I might not respect the opinion of it, or I might respect the opinion that you say, but not understand it. But like, for example, bringing up children, you both have to respect each other's views and understand them as well, so that there's no misunderstanding, those kind of things.
Yeah.
So if I were to distill it, respect and understanding, I think, are 2 of the most important factors in a marriage. 2 of them. They're not the most important, they're just 2 of the most. And I think that would be a takeaway for me, in a way. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just pulled that out of my hat.
Well done. You did good.
It was hard.
I think, and it harps back on to what we've been talking about, but I would say the communication, but on multiple levels, because there's the day-to-day communication of that you need to put the effort in of speaking to each other, not just that kind of, hi, how's your day? I'm going out, I'm doing this is for dinner, here you go. Just like, because sometimes that happens, especially when you're really busy with family life. Sometimes you don't have the bandwidth in your brain to think, I need to check in with them. But actually, that's when things can go a bit awry, when you're not making that time to just say, let's just have a few minutes to just chat about something random. Yes. Or have a hug, or hold hands, or whatever it is, just some form of communication together just like a little check-in, I guess,
Yeah.
you know, to
Touch
have that.
base.
And also to get to that point where it's okay whatever you say. You know, I know that if I need to tell you something and you're not going to like it, you're not going to like it, but it's still okay.
Yeah.
And I think in the early stages of relationships, you might still have that fear of, oh, I don't know what they're going to say. I don't know how they're going to take it, all of that. Now I have such trust in us that doesn't worry me anymore.
Yeah.
And so actually learning to be better at opening up. So there's like, you know, multiple layers of communication. But yeah, that's
really
think,
good.
a
I like that too.
big one.
I think a marriage is like Lego. You can build a lot of different shapes with it, but if you build it wrong and you push it, it can crumble. So it's up to you both. And a marriage is a two-person affair. Maybe affair is not the right word in this instance. But I'm going to go with it. It's a two-person job, right?
Yeah.
That if you are going to build, you must build strong. So your foundation has to be really perfect, or as perfect as you can make it, so that everything else can sit nicely on top.
I agree.
Strange analogy, but I know what I'm talking about. Just
No,
pretend
no.
you do as well.
I get you. I definitely get it.
So life can lead you down many paths, and I think it's up to you as to which one you take. But if you take it together and you hold hands while doing it, you can probably achieve anything.
Are we holding hands walking down that path?
I think so. After this long, gotta be right.
Definitely.
I mean, look, we've got two of the best kids in the entire world. Very respectful, very polite, great. Got a little house with a garden, dog and a cat. Like, we're all right. We made those decisions to be where we are here.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the best decisions was house swap.
Yeah, definitely.
Look how that turned out.
Mm-hmm.
Explain that, just for people that didn't know the realities, because it's interesting.
So
how it
when
can
you
go.
have a property with a housing association or a council, because there are such long waiting lists for bigger properties, you can do something called a home swap, where you find somebody in whichever area it is that you want to move to and who also has a property. Doesn't have to be within the same council or anything.
Yeah, and this one wasn't.
Yeah, this one wasn't. It's in a different borough. And you both decide you want to swap properties. That's literally it. You swap. And you have to go through like some checks and stuff. But once it's been approved, you pick the day and you swap. And you become the tenant where they were and they become a tenant where you are. And that's it. And that's what we did. And it was our only way of trying to get out of the one bedroom place that we had when we had Jake. And we were lucky enough to find this guy who had a 2-bedroom in a tower block that was set to be demolished a couple of years after we were planning on moving in.
Yeah.
With the view to then be rehoused in a brand new like block building, which we've done. And
Yeah, this all happened.
yeah. Now we have our little house.
On the prairie. No, that's it's worked out.
Yeah, it worked out really, really well for us.
It would have been interesting because none of that would have happened if we didn't have kids. We'd still be in the one bed around the corner from where my mum used to live, and probably just been quite happy there, to be fair.
Yeah, if
was a
it had just
nice
been the two
place.
of us, it would have been fine, but
Yeah, but we upsized.
we did.
It was very fortuitous, actually, because we could have house swapped with anybody and we could have been in the first place. But to be the first to live in a place is really cool. Probably
Yeah.
never have that in my life again, unless I make like billions and millions and millions and billions and become that provider I was talking about, so I can build a house. But until then, like, being able to live here is really cool. It's been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Is fun. It's been fun, right? Moving out tomorrow. No, not at all.
You better not.
Oh, dear. But yeah, I don't know. I think that if you're not in a relationship, then maybe you can take away something good from this kind of episode, because it's sort of like a, not even a do's or don'ts really. It's just sort of like a guide,
Well, it's just how it can be.
a guide to happiness, or at least our version of it.
Yeah.
Happiness and comfort.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. All right then. How about a story?
My Stroonge News episode kind of ties in a little bit.
Oh, well, that's cool.
So it's about penguins. And penguins, when they are like courting, when two penguins find each other, the males collect pebbles to bring them as gifts to the females. And they, add them to their little penguin nests. And earlier last month, so in March, children who were being supported by Edinburgh Children's Hospital charity had been painting special pebbles to celebrate the beginning of the penguin breeding season at the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland's Edinburgh Zoo.
Oh, wow.
And there's just some really, really cute pictures of a whole pile of these all different pebbles, all painted, all, multicolored, decorated by the children. And the penguins are going up, picking the one that they want, and then taking them off back to their penguin wives.
Right. So this reminds me of when I went furniture shopping for my first house.
Yeah.
That you then moved into. So my mum and I went to like a furniture reclamation place, and you put a sticker on the thing you want. So we put a sticker on a big wardrobe, and a sticker on a set of chest of drawers, and one on this nice comfy sofa. And those are my pebbles to fill my house.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah. And they had like cameras set up so that the children could watch and stuff. And yeah, it's just a really cute story.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
But it is. It's like it's like building your marriage house.
Yeah.
I don't know. That amuses me so much.
He brings her gifts.
Yes.
Pebble gifts.
So we'll have a link to that in the description, as we always do.
Yes.
Yeah. That's us for the week. So 17 years and counting. Last year we did an episode called 16 Years and Counting, and it feels crazy that it's already been a year since that episode. I don't even know what number it was, but it was way back in the day. So, yeah. On podcast day, we're having some bagels, aren't we? That'd be nice.
We are. From a nice bagel placing down the road.
Yes.
They are super nice.
I look forward to that. Well, thank you as always for listening. Thank you especially to Barry for the super chat, or super thanks. That's what it's called, because it wasn't a live. Super thanks. And if you want these episodes a day early on Thursdays, you can subscribe and become a YouTube member. And if you do that, you can listen a day early. So the day that we actually record it. Otherwise, you can get them on Fridays at 10 UK time. Do the usuals. Subscribe and like and share and follow and eat good food. I mean, why wouldn't you eat good food, right?
Always.
Always. So, I wish you a wonderful week ahead, and we will see you next time. But until then.
Bye. So we understand.
Yeah, you understand. Sorry. I leant on the recording, guys. So you got to the word you understand, and then I don't know how it happened. I leant on the stop key.
When you jumped then, I thought you were going to say that you hadn't recorded any of what we just talked about.
No, I've got it.
I was going to cry.
I've got it. It's okay.
Understand. I don't know at what point I...
You were understanding why I turtled, essentially.
That's really weird.